there's a lot of excitement. There's been a lot of people have gone into putting in a lot of time, a lot of hard work, and it's all paying off. It just seems things keep on rolling. Whether it starts with the trade of getting Wiggins, and it goes to the All-Star weekend, which is a great weekend for the Timberwolves with Levine and Wiggins, really showcasing what they can do. Then you bring back Kevin Garnett, then Glenn and Becky go out there and get the number 1 pick. And then we come here and we know we get Cat, and then all of a sudden we make the trade and get Tyus Jones, and we got this beautiful new facility. So there's a lot of positives that are happening right now.
The voice of Flip Saunders in the wake of a very successful draft. The Wolves land Karl-Anthony Towns, number 1, Tyus Jones, number 24, via Cleveland. Kyle Ratke of Timberwolves.com was there in person at the Barclays Center in New Jersey. He's in studio now to rehash it here with the Wake Up Call. Good morning, Kyle.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing very well. Really good to have you here to get about as close a perspective as you can get to the live experience of the NBA draft. First question, where were you located and what was the vibe like in the Barclays Center that night?
Well, I walked in and I looked at the media seating, and it said 3 rows up, and I didn't know if that meant 3 rows in the stands or you're on the floor. We're on the floor, and I'm probably from you to me away, which is probably, 2 arms lengths away from D'Angelo Russell's suit. So I was, right there right away, and then probably a table away from Karl-Anthony Towns and that whole Kentucky clan there. And it was, the energy in there was fantastic. Just the New York crowd, so up and down. No, it was a heck of an experience. And once Adam Silver went out there, named Karl-Anthony Towns the first overall pick, obviously with the number 4 pick, the Knicks pick, there was a little different feeling. But I think whoever would have got picked there the Knicks fan probably would have found a way to boo. But no, energy there was fantastic. It was one of those experiences where you kind of have to pinch yourself to wake up and you go, all right, you got to go to work. You stop looking around. But it was a blast.
Was the reaction to the Porzingis pick as severe as it looked on TV?
Yeah, no, it was. I've never seen anything like that. And everybody says, well, if it would have been Moutier or if it would have been Justice Winslow, it would have been the same thing. And I'm not so sure, because I think a lot of fans and that's probably was the problem with Porzingis going into the draft, was nobody really knew who he was. And it's more so because we haven't done our research as fans. Most reporters know who he is, most scouting services know who he is, but it's the fact that they don't know who he is. They've never seen him in person. They've seen these workouts with a chair, and that doesn't exactly scream, pick me at 4. But no, it was bad. There was a guy in the front row who he screamed, bleep, 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 and it was. I just looked at him and I'm like, oh my goodness.
There were little kids in tears. If you watch on TV, ESPN's focusing on little 4-year-old kids who had enough wherewithal to be saddened by the pick. It was pretty remarkable. But that's the best part about the NBA draft, is that there are so few players and it's so concentrated on a handful of names that you can have a strong opinion. Like in the NHL draft, beyond numbers 1 and 2, McDavid and Eichel, nobody knows anybody involved in the draft, and it's hard to be emotionally invested, whereas in the NBA you can be. And you can be emotionally invested in, say, a 24th pick like Tyus Jones, who comes to the Timberwolves. Did you see the pick or the move for Tyus kind of coming beforehand? Did you feel like Flip was aiming at a trade-up?
I did. Going into the draft, I anticipated something like that maybe happening. I knew that they weren't going to keep 31 and 36. They're not going to have 3 rookies on the team when they had 3 last year. I don't think that was a possibility. But I started hearing from 15 to 20 that the trade, trading up into the first round was going to be a steep price. I think you're probably looking at a guy like maybe Gorgie Jang. His name probably got thrown in there from other teams. And the Wolves weren't willing to do that, obviously. And then I think when they got down to 24, Cleveland, they didn't want to give the guaranteed money to a first-round pick. It kind of worked out perfect. Tyus slid enough for the Wolves to, move up and make it happen. And I listened to you guys this morning, you and Zach, and it really is best fit. On the court, off the court, that was a great move for the Wolves.
Cleveland's just got to hate us, though, right? I mean, we take Wiggins from them. Mm-hmm. They don't win a title with Love. And now the Wolves take Jones from the spot, and they're left with C.D. Osman and Rakeem Christmas, fleecing the Cavaliers.
Well, and I'm not so sure that Jones couldn't have helped Cleveland. I mean, we saw them in the finals. They needed bench help. I mean, obviously Kyrie was hurt. Kevin was hurt. Dellavedova did all he could off the bench without tearing any ACLs. But, I mean, you would think he would be able to help him, but I mean, I guess that's that. But yeah, Cleveland fans probably, especially after K-Love opting out, probably aren't too happy with Minnesota right now.
So in your coverage of the draft, were you aware of the trade before Silver announced it at 24? Because watching on TV, and this was me, I wasn't following on Twitter. I was trying to multitask watching the draft. So I see the pick come in at 24 to Cleveland. And I'm sure ESPN is aware of it. They can't not be. They're ESPN. But for some reason, they put out a talking head to stand in front of a screen and demonstrate how Tyus Jones is going to fit into the Cavaliers system when everyone else knows that he's going to Minnesota. Did you know that the trade had gone down?
Well, first off, I think that's like the problem with the NBA draft is you're forcing these kids. I remember Shabazz 2 years ago. He's putting on the Utah Jazz hat when everybody knew, including him, that he wasn't going to play for the Utah Jazz. And they go, "How are you going to fit in with the Jazz?" And it's like, well, I'm not going to fit in with the Jazz because I got traded. But funny story about that trade. I did not know. I wasn't on my phone at all. That's the one thing about when you're covering the draft is you're kind of following around one player, and we're following around Karl-Anthony with his tours. And you're not really able to check. You're kind of hearing over the loud system, so-and-so picked, and every once in a while I glance at a TV and get to see. So I kind of assumed when it got to like 22, 23 that the trade into the first round was kind of off the table. I didn't see it happening. And then we're in the room where Karl-Anthony's doing his conference call with all the reporters, and Tyus gets drafted by the Cavs, and he looks at the screen, Karl-Anthony does, and he goes, "Oh, man, like, that's too bad. I'm not going to be able to play with Tyus." And he said it on the conference call. And I think somebody asked him, maybe it was John Krasinski from the AP, and he asked him what it would be like to play with Tyus. And Karl-Anthony goes, "Oh man, you must not have seen. He just got drafted by Cleveland." And they probably all saw the tweet from Woj or whatever that said he got traded. So we had to explain to him. We're like, no, he got traded to the Wolves, and we can't say too much until everything's official. But no, that was funny. So yeah, we didn't really see it coming.
So Karl-Anthony Towns gets on the stage after being selected number 1. He gives a hug to Commissioner Silver and probably squeezes the breath out of him. Yep. Then he goes and does his ESPN interview. At what point do you cross paths with Karl-Anthony?
Right away. We got introduced to him right away. And then we had an exclusive sit-down interview with him. Probably took about three minutes or so. But yeah, we got to meet him right away. Jerry Zagota from the Star Tribune got to talk to him right away. It's amazing that the media tour that they go on after, I mean, we probably got out of Barclays at, I'd say 1:30 a.m. and he was still doing things there. Like, it baffles me. It's like, hey, congratulations. And now, go do 3 hours of these interviews that you probably don't want to do. But he handled it. I mean, you guys heard it just so gracefully and just
fantastic personality.
Truly blessed. I mean, if you can say the right things for 3 straight hours, that's good for you.
Yeah, and of course I had to do my diligence, and I emailed the PR department and I said, hey, can we get Karl-Anthony on the air today? Because you have to get him on the air. And I almost felt bad doing it because I've watched him seemingly on a loop on a different network in a different city doing interviews for the last 36 hours. You almost feel bad for the guy. Just let him be. Let him sleep. Did you get any sleep that night?
Well, it's funny because we got back to our hotel probably at 1:30 or so. We had work to do. Noah and I are video guy. And probably fell asleep around 3:15 a.m. and our taxi picked us up at 4:15. So I got about 45 minutes of sleep. And then I started complaining, but I'm like, oh, we got to go back to work. The press conference is today, blah, blah, blah. And then I remember, right when I arrived in Minneapolis, I saw Karl-Anthony in the office. And I was like, okay, I can't complain. He probably didn't get any sleep either, and he's about to do a whole lot more than I did. But yeah, about 45 minutes of sleep for us, but it was well worth it.
One more segment next with Kyle Ratke. We'll